Hi everyone, still Tuesday night, about 9:15 p.m. and while we normally would have been live, I did do a little crafting. So I made 3 cards and let me share them with you. This is the first one, and these are not what I set out to do. Honestly, I need to make a Mother's Day card and I'm having real difficulty with that for some reason. But anyway, so this is what I made, the first one, and I used Highland Heather, Smoky Slate, and Whisper White, and I did use the Country Floral 3D embossing folder, and I did use the light Highland Heather Stampin' Blend, and over that I went with Winkestella, and I just went on the big rose or flower in the middle of the embossing. And then, because I thought I'd put a sentiment up here, so I cut out a rectangle with the stitched rectangle dies that are still available and carrying over, and I cut one out in Whisper White, and on that one I used this stamp set that is retiring called You're Inspiring, and I just used the Kind Thoughts for You. See, I originally pulled this out to do the Because of You, I Am Me, Happy Mother's Day, but my mother's not a purple person. So I went with the Kind Thoughts for You. And underneath that, it just needed a little something, something. So I used the silver with Whisper White metallic thread. I wrapped it around the layers down through the Smoky Slate. And before I glued them all down onto the gorgeous, the Highland Heather. On the inside, I don't know if you'll remember this, but this is the Paper Pumpkin Distinctive Rose. And since this is a rose, I stamped it off and then stamped it again just in the corner there in Highland Heather. So that is the first one I made. Now the second one I made, you won't be able to make exactly as it is because I used my very last piece of Fresh Fig cardstock, with the exception of this square, and there may be some scraps in my scrap bin, but if they are, they're like, you know, strips or something. Anyway, I also used Smoky Slate, and then I used a piece of Petals Promenade. Now this white piece, when I cut this little square out on, or rectangle out on the first one, I intentionally put it in an area, like centered it in this white piece of paper that I could use as a mat. And then, actually it was a little bit bigger than that, and then I made sure I centered the next level, like this larger stitched rectangle, so that I could have a larger stitch rectangle that I could use to frame these beautiful flowers here. So everything is glued down except for this white piece that after I stamped it. Oh, and what I did here is I used Smoky Slate. I almost didn't like it, but I think I made it work. I used this. I thought I'd try it in the Fresh Fig and stamp off, and it didn't look right. So I thought I'd bring the gray out from the background, stamp it in the background, and then I just stamped right on there. I'm lucky to have a friend like you. And this little flower here, and then this is a piece of Fresh Fig, 1/8 inch. I forget what they call that ribbon. Let me see. Sheer ribbon, 1/8 inch sheer ribbon. That will be discontinued, as will the everything else Fresh Fig. This is Fresh Fig ink as well. And then on the inside, I just left a plain white card. So that is card number 2. And I probably will not put these on my blog because I've used some papers that are no longer available to you. Now on this third one, I have this strip out of Petals Promenade and I'd never used it. So I was insistent to myself that I wanted to use it. And I tried to pull out some of the colors in it, which look like Blushing Bride, which is what this is. But then I had some trouble with the other ones. I think Mossy Meadow is in there. I don't know. So initially, I tried to take these little flowers and stamp them on, I think, this circle on the other side of it, in Highland Heather, Blushing Bride, Daffodil Delight, but like stamped off. And then I was going to stamp the sentiment over it, but I didn't like it. So I flipped it over. I used Mossy Meadow to stamp these flowers. And then I actually colored them in with a combination of light Flirty Flamingo, because I don't have Blushing Bride or anything in the blends, and Petal Pink, because Petal Pink is one of the colors too. So I did it with Blushing Bride first, and I sort of went over part of it with Petal Pink. I'm sorry, with Flirty Flamingo first, and then went over it with Petal Pink, and I think that came out okay. And then I went around the edges with dark Flirty Flamingo, which I kind of wish I hadn't done, but I did. So, and then I stamped the It's a Beautiful Day. I don't believe I'd ever used that stamp. Sorry, my computer's going nuts. Anyway, I stamped it in Mossy Meadow after I put a little piece of Smoky Slate right under there. And then these are the Petal Pink Rhinestone Gems, and I think they're actually carrying over into the new catalog, which kind of surprised me. But I did use 3 of the little squares on there, and then on the inside I had the other part of this strip, and I just put it on a piece of Whisper White, and that's the inside. Oops, sorry. So there is card number 3. And I don't know if I mentioned I used the Lace 3D embossing folder on the Blushing Bride in the background, just to give it some texture. And I did use wet glue, the mono, the green stuff, to put down the embossed layers in particular. This circle here is bumped up on dimensionals, but this one is glued directly down. So I thought they came out cute. So that's card 3. Card 2 and card 1. So I'm sorry we didn't make them together, but I was kind of all over the place tonight and didn't know where I was going to end up, and I just didn't want to do a live like that. So that's my substitute for the live tonight. I hope you enjoy it, and I will talk to you next time. Next Tuesday I will be live. The following week I'm not too sure. I kind of doubt it. I have to go to a meeting where my mother lives now, so and late in the afternoon, unfortunately. So anyway, all right guys, talk to you soon. Hugs, love, and peace. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I really like hearing from you, and most importantly, kind of makes my day. I look forward to reading your comments. Okay, talk to you soon.